Hi, this is Dr. Whiting, and today we're answering questions from our readers and members. We have often invited our members here at the Research Institute to send in their questions, things that they feel are important to them and perhaps important to lots of our other listeners. Today I'm going to answer a few of those questions on this presentation. First of all, is there a connection between alcohol addiction and nutrients? Are there supplements that can help control this? Alcohol addiction. Let's begin with alcohol consumption. Alcohol, when consumed, is metabolized like no other substance. It is not a carbohydrate, in spite of what many dietitians preach. It is certainly not a protein or a fat. Alcohol is an alcohol, and as such it is metabolized in its own unique way. If we were going to compare it to anything, I suppose alcohol is metabolized closest to sugar, but it is not sugar. Alcohol contains no carbohydrates whatsoever in its pure form. Now, what about alcoholism? How come we can have someone who can have a social drink occasionally and do just fine? Oh, how come we can have a heavy drinker who drinks 3, 4, 5 cocktails every evening with dinner, but can stop for weeks at a time with no apparent issues? And then we have others who, no matter how much or how little alcohol they consume, they are victims. They are addicts. Oftentimes these people can have one drink and it sends them over the edge and they binge drink until they pass out. Other times, alcoholics can be people who have a couple cocktails with every dinner and they look just like everybody else. They look just like social drinkers. The only difference is they can't stop. They have to have it every day. So what makes this addictive nature? Is it a personality? Is it a chemistry? Well, medical science says it's probably a little bit of both. There's certainly what we call an addictive personality. There are people who, just by their compulsive nature, have to do everything they do to extreme. And those people are much more inclined to have lots of habits or addictions that perhaps others wouldn't. Secondly, it certainly is chemical. We know that there is an enzyme in the liver that is responsible for breaking down alcohol into its basic component parts. If that enzyme is deficient or missing altogether, and we now believe that that can be a hereditary and certainly a genetic trait, if that is missing, then the individual has a much, much higher risk of becoming addicted or habit-forming to alcohol consumption. Now, what can nutrition do about that? Well, certainly a well-nourished body, a healthy body, is going to have less addictive nature than someone who is unwell. So taking a good multivitamin mineral supplement every day to provide the body with the basic needs that it has to help rebalance and maintain internal body chemistry is the first good step. Next, after that, there are key nutrients which can be very, very beneficial. Selenium, chromium, vanadium, aspartic acid, vitamin B1, B2, B6, B12, pantothenic acid. All of these nutrients have been shown to help lessen the cravings for alcohol. And certain amino acids such as taurine and others have been shown to help prevent the craving, the addiction, and even the extent of hangovers. So there are nutrient requirements that are in excess for people who are either heavy drinkers or who are addicted and therefore alcoholics. If you know someone in your circle of life that has this issue, please feel free to contact our research center for further information that might help them. And I'll give you the contact information in just a little bit. Next, from Minnesota, are there natural supplements to help with the pain of inflammation? Inflammation is a double-edged sword. Inflammation's a good thing, inflammation's a bad thing. If you sprain your ankle and it swells up twice the size, that's a good thing, at least for the short term, because that swelling or inflammation is nature's bandage. It's trying to protect that tissue, the joints, the connective tissue, the ligaments, the tendons, from further damage. It's restricting your movement, and that's a good thing. However, when inflammation goes on for long periods of time, such as what we call chronic inflammation, that would include arthritis, bursitis, etc., then inflammation becomes a detriment, because over time, chronic ongoing inflammation can destroy healthy tissue. Then, of course, we have silent inflammation. That's the inflammation that you cannot feel because it's existing below your pain threshold. Silent inflammation usually occurs in a variety of chronic diseases: diabetes, heart disease, gallbladder disease, and others. Can nutrients help to control inflammation? You bet. A few years ago at our research center, we compiled about 100 plus studies on alternatives to managing inflammation, various clinical studies from around the world. And based on their findings, we developed a formulation that is specifically designed to help the body control the inflammatory response. That particular formula is currently available from a nutrition company in Southern California called Phoenix Nutritionals. You can contact them directly if you're interested in that inflammatory formula. I believe they call it Inflamease, but you certainly can contact them. If you have any questions about how the formula works or anything else, please address those to our research center. Next, why is there such a cost